Good day class, today's lesson will be on the angles of elevation and depression, and I'm your presenter Roxanne Moore. So let's move on to our objectives. By the end of the lesson, students of 7R should be able to effectively solve the angles of elevation and depression using trigonometric ratios given to sides, identify the angles of elevation and depression and justify the relationship between them after watching an introductory video displaying the concept of angles of elevation and depression. Also, students should be able to properly use a clinometer to measure the angle of elevation after watching demonstration video from YouTube. So let's move on to our start activity.
Introduction to angles of elevation and depression. Every day, we look at different things around us. We look up to see things above us. We look down to see things below us. Angles are formed when we look up or down, and these angles are called angle of elevation and angle of depression. First, let's follow Dylan around the park to see the different angles of elevation and depression. Dylan looks up at the bird on the tree. When he looks up, there is an angle formed. Let's find out where this angle is. Remember, Dylan was looking straight like this just now. Then he looked up at the bird. There is an angle here. We say this is the angle of elevation. Elevate means to lift up. With this angle of elevation of the bird from Dylan, he takes a close shot of the bird. Next, Dylan now needs to locate the crocodile farm. He sees a signboard and he tilts his head. Again, there is an angle of elevation of the signboard from Dylan's eyes. Remember, Dylan was looking straight like this just now. Then he looked up at the signboard. There is an angle here. This is the angle of elevation. Dylan cannot see the words clearly. He walks nearer to the signboard. The angle of elevation of the signboard from Dylan increases as he walks nearer to the signboard. There it is. The crocodile farm is over there. He walks to the crocodile farm. At the farm, he sees the crocodile and he looks down at it. When he looks down, there is an angle formed. Let's find out where this angle is. Remember, Dylan was looking straight like this just now. Then he looked down at the crocodile. There is an angle here. This is the angle of depression. Depress means downwards. With this angle of depression of the crocodile from Dylan, he takes a picture of it. He walks a few steps on the platform and sees a mud skipper opening its mouth. That is a rare sight. He tilts his head down to capture the picture. Again, there is an angle of depression of the mud skipper from him. This angle is larger than the angle of depression of the crocodile from Dylan. Because the mud skipper is nearer to Dylan, he took a picture of it. Now that we have seen angles of elevation and depression like these, do you notice any similarities in them? Notice that both angles of elevation and depression have a horizontal line. Notice there is also a line touching horizontal. It is this line that connects the object from the observer's eye. It's called the line of sight. Thus, an angle of elevation or an angle of depression is between the horizontal and the line of sight. The angles are also at the reference point, and the word from is important to determine the reference point. Antigone, is there any relationship between these two angles? Let's continue following Dylan to find out. Dylan sees a squirrel on the tree. There is an angle of elevation of the squirrel from him here. Let's draw the horizontal and line of sight. Can you identify it? It is here. Interestingly, the squirrel looks back at Dylan. There is an angle of depression of Dylan from the squirrel. Let's draw the horizontal and line of sight. Can you see it? It is here. Since both horizontals are parallel and are cut by the same line, these two angles are equal. Dylan takes a picture of the squirrel and walks on. All in all, when we look up, an angle of elevation of the object from us is formed. Specifically, angle of elevation is the angle between the horizontal and line of sight. When we look down, an angle of depression of the object from which is formed. And an angle of depression is the angle between the horizontal and the line of sight too.
Okay, 7R. Let's see how much my bright students have learned. Okay, based on the video, what elevate and depress mean? Anyone? 7R, anyone? Yes, Brittany. Miss Moore, from the video, elevate means to look up and depress to look down. Yes, Brittany, very good, but not entirely. Right, Brittany? To elevate means upwards and depress means downwards, okay? Alright, next question. What type of angle is formed when you look up? Yes, Jordan. Angles of depression, miss. Angles of depression. Angles of depression. You guys agree with Jordan? Yes, Crystal. No, miss. The answer is angles of elevation because angle of depression is when you look up. Okay, nice. Nice, Crystal. Alright. What type of angle is formed when you look down then, Crystal? Angles of depression, miss. Very good. Clap yourself. Alright, next question. What are some examples of angles of elevation and depression from the video? Yes, Adrian. An example of angle of elevation from the video was when Dylan looks up at the bird in the tree. Okay, nice. Nice. Clap him. Alright. Anybody? Brittany, answer. Give me an example. An example, miss, of angles of elevation from the video was when Dylan wants to find the crocodile farm, miss, and he looks up and he saw the signboard, miss. Very good. Right, girl, Brittany? Alright. Anybody else? I need an example of angles of depression now. Anybody? Deandra. Examples of angles of depression was when Dylan looks down at the crocodile and the mud skipper. Nice, girl. Clap, Deandra, please. Okay, so what are the similarities between angles of elevation and depression? Anybody? Yes, Trician. Miss, both has a horizontal line and a line of sight. You guys agree with her? Yes, miss. Okay, nice. Nice, Trician. Okay, so what is the relationship between the angles of elevation and depression? Javon. Oh, they are alternate to each other, miss. Okay, and what alternate means? Alternate means that what? Anybody? Okay, let I tell you. So alternate angles are angles that equal the same. They form Z angles, otherwise known as Z angles. Alright, class? So this means that angles of elevation and depressions are equal. Alright. So what is the line of sight? Yes, Junior. A line that touches the horizontal. Alright, Junior, yes, but there's more to what you just said, right? It is indeed a line that touches the horizontal, yes, but it should connect the object from the observer's eyes. Alright? Alright, last question. Based on the video, which word can be used to determine the reference point? Yes, Patricia. Two. The word to, miss. Well, incorrect. Enriquez. Help Patricia, please. It's the word from miss. Okay, nice. Nice, Enriquez. Alright, guys, clap yourself. My 7R students are very bright. Alright, what I want you guys to do is to formulate your own real-life examples of either angle of elevation or depression and indicate when you are finished and share your example with the class upon acknowledging. But you guys have 2 minutes to do so, alright? And I'll be counting down. Okay. So bear in mind, guys, you guys have just 2 minutes to formulate your examples of either angle of elevation or depression. So your 2 minutes will be starting now. Let's class formulate your examples. Formulate your examples, class. Remaining 1 minute. Hope you guys doing great so far. Yes. I see Brittany working on our example. And Jordan over there. Okay, time up, time's up, all pencils down. Let's hear those examples. Okay, so Javon. Alright, I'm having some technical difficulties here. Alright, so Javon, can I hear your real life examples, please? Alright, Javon. A real life example of angle of elevation is looking at a mango from the tree. Very good, very good. Very good. And Brittany, can I hear yours? A real life example of angles of depression is standing and looking down at a cockroach on the floor. Okay, alright. Alright. So, activity. The entire class will be engaged in a game called 10 Minutes to Win It. This is where the teacher will divide the class into 3 groups, Group A, B, and Group C, where students will be placed in specific groups based on their learning potential and interests. Each group will be given a specific assignment. Additionally, a 10-minute timer will be projected on the smart board, and students should complete their assignments in their respective groups before the 10 minutes run out. Also, each group should take a picture of their completed assignment, which will be in the form of either a worksheet or a puzzle, and they should use their smartphones now and email the end result to their teacher's email within the 10 minutes. Okay? So the 10 minutes starts now. So guys, you have 10 minutes to do this assignment. Okay, 7 hours left, 4 seconds remaining. Alright. Alright, so we are having a small technical difficulties. Alright. Alright, so during this presentation, after this assignment, the teacher will then access each group's completed emailed assignment and use the projector to separately project their assignment on the smart board. Firstly, the teacher will project Group A's completed worksheet, following Group B's completed puzzle, then Group C's completed worksheet. Prior to projecting of the students' assignments in their group, the teacher will prompt the students to select a representative to represent on the group's behalf. Right? And this representative will comment on the answers they obtained after executing their class assignment, which will be, as I said, a worksheet or a puzzle. And so also, the representative will share and justify their group's approach in executing their assignment. So during this, the teachers will provide students with necessary tools and manipulatives and the assignment sheet, right? And Group A will receive a worksheet, pencil, crayon, and calculators from the teacher. Group B will receive the puzzle. Group C will receive the worksheet, trigonometer, tape measure, or tape, right? And also the teacher will present a video on how to find the angles of elevation to Group C. Teacher will also ensure all the students are actively participating. And the teacher's role is also to ask representative of each group to share the answers their group obtained and justify their answers. As you can see, the teacher will be the facilitator, right? So the teacher will facilitate the students' learning. So the learner's role is to be an active participant of the learning process. That means the learner should engage in the learning activity, right? Learners should be free to ask questions if necessary. And the learner should also select a representative to present on their group's behalf and answer the teacher's questions. And that will be specified for the representative specific. Alright, so the rationale of this assignment is that being that most learners rather games, this activity will execute in a form of a game where students will complete their assignments in their respective groups and at the same time they should beat the time, right, which is 10 minutes. It also incorporates technology such as phones in which 21st century learners are facilitated with. And due to the fact that learners learn at different paces and has different learning styles and have interest in specific things, the assignment was designed to cater to different learning styles of various learners. their learning abilities, such as learning speed, while aiming to capture learners' interests as well as accommodating their strengths, right? And additionally, this assessment will validate what the learners learned thus far in the lesson and reveal misconceptions in which they might have. Alright, so about Group A's assignment. Group A will consist of the fastest learners that share interest in problem solving and design arts. Additionally, students of Group A will be students that enjoys doing a lot of assignments. As a result, they will receive the most challenging by the path traveled, right? So Group A's present this, right? And this is the correct answer they obtain, right, students? Right? So as you can see, they solve for X in various sections of the maze, right? And Group A, as you can see, X is either the angle of elevation and depression, and they will use that to determine the answer to follow the correct path. So as you can see, they have 38.7 degrees, 44.4 degrees in which they calculated throughout, and they are completely right because these students are tier 1 students, right? And for this, the reason, it prompted them to give 2 reasons for 2 specific. So the reason is that the missing angle in the question calculated to be 51.3. It is an angle in a right angle, while the other angle in the same right angle is the angle of depression. Therefore, subtracting 51.3 from 90 will give you the value of the angle of depression, which is equivalent to the angle of elevation. As we know, right angle of elevation and depression is alternate to each other. So whatever you find for the angle of elevation would be the same for the angle of depression, right? And next reason for the next one is the missing angle in the question calculated to be 17.5 degrees. That angle is identified to be the angle of elevation, which is alternate, as I mentioned, to the angle of depression. Hence, both angles are equivalent. So this is the end result of what Group A students solved, right? Alright, so let's move on to Group B's assignment. Group B will consist of kinesthetic learners. Wow. That learns at a moderate pace. Due to this, those learners will receive a puzzle with a right angle triangle pieces, right? In which they will arrange and solve for unknown sides, X, as well as to determine if specific angles are angles of elevation and depression. And this is Group B's puzzle, which prompts them to solve for the angle of elevation and depression. So what they should do is rearrange this puzzle in a way to form a box or a square, and then they will solve for X, determine the angle of elevation, hence the angle of depression. So this is the end result of Group B's puzzle, right? As you can see, the angle of elevation and depression here. So looking at this side, this is the angle of depression, so hence the angle of elevation will be here. So this is the end result of what Group B is get, and they are completely right, as Group B is tier 2 type of students. Alright, so we're moving on to Group C's assignment now. So about Group C's assignment. Group C will consist of weakest learners in the class, where some are visual, kinesthetic, and most are auditory learners. Also, Group C will contain learners in which their favorite subject is English and construction. Being that Group C learners are visual and kinesthetic learners, they will watch a demonstration of how to use a clinometer to measure the angle of elevation, which the teacher will project on the smart board, right? After watching the video, Group C will be given a worksheet that has 2 sections, Section A and Section B. Section A will consist of a fill-in-the-blank questions. As against differentiated learning is taking place based on what the students like, right? However, Section B will consist of 1 question which has a diagram where they will solve for x, which is the angle of elevation, and hence they will determine the angle of depression. Right? Then the teacher will give them a clinometer, right? And a tape measure also. And in other words, they will use this clinometer to solve for the angle of elevation, hence determine the angle of depression. Right? So as I mentioned, the angle of the group C's will be given a video, right? Will be prompt to watch a video on angles of elevation and depression. So this is the video. Alright, so this video is a video on how to find the angle of elevation using the clinometer. So group C students will be watching this, being that they are visual learners.
Press the subscribe button and don't forget to press the bell button for upcoming new videos. How to find the angle of elevation of any object? Right now we are going to find the angle of elevation on top of the building. This is geometrical instrument T here. Put it in this position, and this is straw here. Put the straw at the top of this. And this is blue color wire, and attach a weight with it, and then bring this wire and put this wire into the hole of this T. The angle is 90 degree right now here. So now look into this straw and adjust your line of sight with the top of the building. And you can see here the wire is right now at the angle of 70. So at the start it was 90 degree, now it is 70 degree, so the difference is 20 degree. So the angle of elevation, the top of the building is from your eye level, it is 20 degree, because the wire was at 90 degree first, now it is 70 degree, so difference between 90 and 70 is 20. So the angle of elevation, the top of the building is 20 degree.
Okay. Alright, so that is the video group C students will watch. Okay, so let's view the worksheet for group C. Alright, so this is a group C's worksheet, right? And remember, group C students loves English. So as you can see, there's some literature going on here. So, clear example of differentiated instruction, right? So, section A, they got a fill in the blank section, in which they should select the appropriate word from the box below that best fits in, right? So, as you can see, it says when we look up, the dash is formed. However, when you look down, the dash is formed. Angles of elevation and depression both has a dash line and a dash. The angle of elevation and depression are dashed to each other. The term dash means downwards, while dash means dash. When a dash closer, the angle of depression will dash. So let's look at group C students' result. So this is, then we have the section B now, in which problem to use a clinometer to find the angle of elevation, hence determine the angle of depression. So let's see what group C got for section A. So they say when we look up, the angle of elevation is formed. However, when we look down, the angle of depression is formed. Angle of elevation and depression both has a horizontal line and a line of sight. The angle of elevation and depression are supplementary to each other. The term depress means downwards, while elevate means upwards. When an image closer, the angles of depression will decrease. Okay, that's how the word supplementary here. So it's evident that group C students have a mixed conception, right? Because the angle of elevation and depression are not supplementary, right? They're alternate to each other. So I wonder if this is a misconception or it's a little simple error they made. But let's see. We're going to see this a misconception of group C. Alright, so we're going to check section B. Wow. So they have, since the angle of elevation is supplementary, So it looks like it's really a mixed conception, right? Well, let's further on. So they say they have the angle of elevation is supplementary to the angle of depression. And right here, looking at the calculation, said the angle of elevation, they calculated for it to be 33.8 degrees. Hence, the angle of depression, they have 146.2 degrees. So, there's evidently that Group C's have a mixed conception, right? Group C students have a mixed conception. So, they believe that the angle of elevation and depression are supplementary to each other. What supplementary means is that both angles sum up to 180 degrees. So basically they believe that angles of elevation and depression will sum up to 180 degrees. As you can see, it's evident in their calculation. So basically they have a mixed conception. Alright, so what I'm going to do now, Group C students, that's your misconception, because the angle of elevation and depression is not supplementary to each other. They are alternate. So as you can see, the angle of depression and the angle of elevation both have a horizontal line, right? So as you can see, the angle of elevation, horizontal line, is parallel to the angle of depression, horizontal line. So therefore, it forms an Z, and this Z is also known as alternate. So the Z angle is formed, otherwise known as the alternative angle, right? So therefore, being alternate means that whatever the angle is for the horizontal, for the angle of depression is the same for the angle of elevation, being that they are alternate to each other. So it's an example. So right there, you can see the angle of depression, which is from the helicopter, from the plane looking down, from angle of depression, looking down at Junior, which is 40, and Junior, line of sight, horizontal line and line of sight looking at the plane is also 40, because as I mentioned earlier, the angle of elevation and depression are alternate to each other. So therefore, what one is, the other one is, as it relates to the degree. Alright, so Group C, I see your misconception right here. I'm not going to do your question, but I'm going to do a real life example question using the elevator city manipulatives, right? Okay, so let's view this real life question. So in the elevator city, President Trigg sits in his helicopter in the center of the roof of Sides Bank. He wishes to land on the edge of the roof of the elevator hotel for an urgent meeting. Given that the vertical distance between the edge of the roof of the elevator hotel and President Trigg's helicopter is 40 meters, and the horizontal distance between the center of Sides Bank and the edge of the hotel is 60 meters. Calculate the angle in which he has to travel to the meeting at the edge of elevator's hotel's roof. Hence, determine the angle in which he has to travel back to the center of Sides Bank. So class, as you can see, this question is asking to find the angle of elevation, also to determine the angle of depression, right? So we're going to use the elevator city manipulatives over here. Alright, so first, we're going to find out what the question is asking us, doing a quick draft of what the question is saying, right? Okay, so we're going to sketch what the real life example is asking of us. Also use the manipulatives, the elevator city manipulatives. Alright, class? Scenario, you following? Yes, please. Okay. Alright, so we're going to need to follow what's saying. Everybody see it, Seminar? Everybody's able to see the board? Okay. Alright, so in the elevator city, as we mentioned, we read this already, President Trigg sits in his helicopter in the center of the roofs of Sides Bank. Right? So, this is Sides Bank. So, Sides Bank. And it says that President Trigg sits in his helicopter in the center of Sides Bank. So this is the center on the roof, in the centers of Sides Bank. So President Trigg's helicopter. Wow. So that's President Trigg. Right? He wishes to land on the edge of the roof of the elevator hotel for an urgent meeting. Given that the vertical distance between the edge of the roof of the elevator hotel and President Street helicopter is 40 meters, right? It's 40 meters, right? So it's a vertical distance, guys, especially group C, is 40 meters. So the vertical distance from the center, right, so here to here is 40 meters, right? And the horizontal distance between the center of Sides Bank and the edge of the hotel is 60. So the center of Sides Bank to the edge of the hotel. So this is the hotel and this is the elevator hotel, right? So elevator hotel. You guys are seeing the board? Yes, it's 60. So from the center of Sides Bank to elevator hotel, at the edge is 60 meters, right? Calculate the angle in which he has to travel to the meeting at the edge of the elevator's hotel. So at the edge of elevator's hotel roof, guys, right? You guys following group C? Yes? Alright, so he wants to reach here. For what? For a meeting. So you have the line of sight from the center of the hotel, from President Trigg to the edge of the roof. So this is the line of sight, right? And to the horizontal. And this is the horizontal. It should be 40 meters. The distance between, it should be 40 meters mentioned in the question. Alright? And then we have the horizontal distance, which is 60 meters. So as you can see, you're seeing a Z angle forming, otherwise known as alternate angles, right? And from President Trigg to elevator hotel, there's an angle forming here, right? And this is known as the what? What class? The angles of elevation, right? And we need to find this. So the angle of elevation right here in question is represented as X, which is X. And the misconception you guys group C been having is that the angle of elevation is supplementary to the angle of depression, and it's not. It is alternate, meaning they are the same. So whatever the angle of elevation is the same thing the angle of depression is. Being that, as I mentioned earlier, there's parallel lines forming between them, connected by the line of sight, forming the Z angle, right? So if this is supposed to be 40, for example, which is the angle of elevation, what the angle of depression should be? 40. Okay, class. So from the elevator hotel back to Trigg in his helicopter is forming the angle of depression, right? So the angle of depression, which is Y, right? So the question is telling us to determine the angle of elevation and depression. As it mentioned, that calculate the angle in which he has to travel to the meeting at the edge of the elevator's hotel's roof, right? Which is the angle of elevation, and hence determine the angle in which he has to travel back to the Sides Bank, and the angle of depression. Alright. So now this is where now given that we put in the dimensions, this is where we find, we're going to use SOHCAHTOA, right? The trig ratios. So, we know it's SOHCAHTOA, where this is saying sine theta equal opposite over hypotenuse. This is saying cos theta equal adjacent over hypotenuse, tan theta equal opposite over hypotenuse, right? So being that we are given 40 meters and 60 meters, as you can see in the question, we're going to use the trig ratio tan. So tan theta equal what? Opposite over hypotenuse. Right? And the opposite side, as you can see, is 40 meters. Over the hypotenuse is, no, over the adjacent, my bad. Adjacent. To, yes, adjacent, which is 60 meters. We take out your calculators, and we calculated this to be 0.67 degrees, but this is not finished here, class, right? So we're going to find the tan inverse of 0.67 degrees, and that gives us what? Please put in that in your calculator, class. Giving you 5 seconds to do so. What is the answer? 33.8 degrees, miss. Okay, so it's 33.8 degrees. So therefore, the angle of elevation is equal to 33.8 degrees. And what we say about the relationship between the angle of elevation and depression? Well, I want Group C students to answer this. Miss, they are alternate to each other, yes? Mean angle of elevation is equal to the angle of depression. That is what it means, is correct. So if the angle of elevation is calculated to be 33.8 degrees, what is the angle of depression? It is also is 33.8 degrees, being that what? The angle of elevation and depression is what? Supplementary? No, miss, no, miss. Okay, it is what? Alternate. Okay, so being that it's alternate. So E, angle of elevation is equal to the angle of depression, which equal to 33.8 degrees. Clap yourself, clap yourself. Alright, so now we're moving to the assessment part of the lesson. Alright, so the students will be prompted to use the class computers to log on to the online class forum at Miss Moore's online math class forum, right? To access an online test. The online test is based on the lesson, angle of elevation and depression, where they will complete individually within the last 15 minutes of class. The test will consist of 2 questions where students will solve for the angle of elevation and depression. When the students complete the online questions, they will click the submit button. After, the students' test results will be presented on the screen, and the end result, which is the students' calculation for the questions, along with their test results, will automatically be sent to the teacher's email. That is my email, right? And this test will validate whether or not the students learn and if the lesson was effectively and efficiently executed. So this is the end of my presentation. Stay corona free. Thank you.